Buenos dias. Time for another video. Hope you guys are all doing all right. I know it's kind of weird out there and it's just going to get weirder. So, buckle your seatbelt. Let's talk about this today. Let's talk about techniques of deception. Now, what I'm doing is I'm pulling this out of the manuals. And this is just one paragraph in thousands of pages of stuff that can go wonky with your body mind field complex and cause all sorts of problems. And the problem is nobody really knows about this stuff unless you're a PRVH practitioner and you have manuals or you've gone through it. But even if you've gone through it, you don't know what to call it. And the thing about it is to command your space. You have to know what to call it to get rid of it. So let's look at techniques of deception. Cloned. That's kind of interesting. Frequency matching. Matching. Oh, no. Deceit. That's deception. Deceit. Deception. Deception. Lies. How many of you have been lied to? Conceal. That's a technique of deception. You conceal it. Operating in or through blank. So it could be operating in or through whatever. Opposite running time or space. It's like going backwards. So you can't see it. Cloaked. Can't see something if it's cloaked. Tricked. So you've been tricked. How many of you have been tricked? Mind control. Well, that's a big topic nowadays. Imposed. So it's been imposed upon you. Appropriated. So we're going to appropriate this. And it's a technique of deception. Deceived. Yeah, I've been deceived before. It's just, holy, how many of you guys have been deceived? Leave a comment. Unrealized. So like you're up to something, but it's been unrealized. So you were deceived. Fooled. You think, hey, this sounds great. I'm going to do this. But you're actually fooled. Misled. Now, how many of you have been misled? Oh, hey, this is great. Yeah. But it's misleading you. Delude. Deluded. Delusion. Need I say more? Frustrate. To frustrate is a technique of deception. Beguile. Oh, I might have to look that one up. Let's do it. Beguiles to charm or enchant. So if you're being charmed or enchanted, you're being beguiled. It's a technique of deception. No, hold on. Where was I? Betray. They say, oh, I'm loyal or something, but then they betray you. That's a technique of deception. Dupe. Oh, I've been duped. Cancel clear. Circumvent. So you're going this way and they just circumvent you. That's like somebody taking the idea you had for a business plan and circumventing it and coming out with it first. Or like the really nasty folks who take the idea and come out with a big, huge company. And it wasn't even their idea in the first place. They just stole it from somebody. And those guys end up dead somewhere. That's kind of circumventing. Thwart. Thwart is a technique of deception. Take in. We're going to take in under our wing, and you're actually being deceived. Hinder. So I don't know about you, but I don't like being hindered. I don't like my progress being hindered. It's a technique of deception. Baffle. If you're just baffled all the time, how can you get anything done? See, it's a technique of deception. Obstruct. So if you put a big, huge obstacle in your way, it's obstructing your path. It's a technique of deception. Prevent. Maybe you're getting prevented, like from doing some stuff. Like I want to dig a hole in my backyard, but I'm being prevented from doing so because the law states I have to get blue stakes out here first. So it holds me up for 3-4 days, which is fine and dandy. But you know, if you, I don't really own the property. My son does, and he bought it. What isn't it his property? Why the fuck are we paying taxes on it? Plus, you don't want to have liability for digging a hole and hitting the power line or a gas line. And boom, blowing up the whole block. Where were we? Well, prevent. Outwit. I mean, somebody's got. Let's just look it up. To defeat, right here. To defeat, surpass, or gain an advantage over an opponent by using superior intelligence, cunning, or wit. Now you can see that happening today with like AI. They're being outwitted by a machine. How's that rock your boat? Defeat. You just give up if you've been defeated. It's a technique of deception. Evade. They're going to evade you. I'm evading the camera. Something like that. Evasion. That's evasion. Falsify. That's just flat out that's pretty much a lie. Falsity. So, for example, like some of these things out there, they always give little pieces of truth, but then there's just this whole agenda of steering you a different way. I mean, they'll give you a piece of truth so it rings true with your heart, but then there's this agenda to lead you astray. It's like a falsity. Wile. I have to look that one up. W-I-L-E. A sly trick. Deceitful artifice. Or cunning strategy used to manipulate or entice. So you're being manipulated. It's W-I-L-E. Why? While. Wile E. Coyote. I don't know. Fraud. It's just, that's when you think you're getting one thing and you get something completely different. That's fraud. Slight. You've been slighted. That's a technique of deception. Impose. So we're going to impose, all of a sudden just show up at the door and we're going to impose our will upon you. That's energetic rape, if you ask me. Crazed. Let's look up crazed. Person wildly irrational or out of control. You're being deceived. Where was I? Nonsensed. That one up too. Excuse me. You should be drinking your water. Structured water. Words, actions, or ideas that are foolish, absurd, or lack meaning. It's nonsense. Retard. Let's get on the short bus. Impede. I'm gonna look it up. Impede is to delay or prevent. So if you're getting delayed in something, you're being deceived. Impair. Block. Barrier. Interrupt. So, we're going to have an interruption. You're being deceived. It's a deception tactic. Overpowering. So you got people with massive egos that overpower everything. Well, you're being deceived. And they may not even know what they're doing. But they might not be even running their own show. So there's a lot of other stuff going on here that maybe you're not aware of. But I can see it. Neutralize. We're going to neutralize the situation. You got your momentum, you're going along. Oh yeah, this is great. Boogie woogie, man, we're gonna be rich. You've been neutralized. That's a technique of deception. Preclude. You've been precluded. Let's look it up. Prevent from happening. Make it impossible. So if it's been made impossible, you're being deceived. Anything's possible. Brainwashed. I know, we should just send our kids to school. Propagandized. That's everywhere. There's so much propaganda. Mind scrambling. One of the things you want to realize is that the mind is what you use to create. So if they're scrambling your mind, how are you going to create anything? It's just going to drain your energy. You're being deceived. Dysfunction. Let's look it up. abnormality or impairment in the function of a specified bodily organ or system. So if your body's out of whack, how are you going to get anything done? It's going to sit there and drain your energy. We're talking about energy drains. You need personal power to do anything. And if you're just sitting there getting drained, you need to give Bob a call. Especially if there's dysfunction. It's a technique of deception. Disruption. That means you've been disrupted. Confusion. There's so much confusion you don't know which way to go. Well, it's a technique of deception. To knock you off your track of who you are and what you're supposed to be doing here. What we need to do is get you back into alignment. Mind lock. If your mind is locked, how are you going to get anywhere? Disruptive mind. Your mind's been disrupted. Mental programming. Tell me that's not going on these days. Mental programming. In fact, television, let's watch a television program. What's mental programming? Living thought form. Yeah, thought forms are just like things. They land in your field, and some of them are techniques of deception. Energetically receiving another's or others' truth. This may not be your truth, but it's been imposed upon you by another or others. It may be a group of people, like even the collective consciousness may be imposing their truth upon you, and it's not really your truth. That's a technique of deception, and it's designed to guide your ship, your universe, because you are a universe all by yourself. So if you're living out the reality of another's truth or others' truth, you're not living your full potential because you're living something else. Mind washing. Well, we've heard of brainwashing, but this is mind washing. The mind is different from the brain. Yeah, there's mind washing. Hiding truth. They might say a little bit of truth, but then they'll hide the rest of the stuff that happened. And you can see that throughout history. The whole history is hiding truth. Veils of illusion. Should we look it up? Let's do it. The deception nature of reality. Oh, the deceptive nature of reality. Acting as a mental or spiritual belief. No, acting as a mental or spiritual barrier that obscures true awareness and projects a false reality. Holy shit, that's deep. You're living in somebody else's private Idaho. Oh, whoa! I didn't know that was possible. Yeah, it is. And it happens more often than you think. In fact, you might be living in somebody else's world and you have no idea. These are techniques of deception. So listen up. Deceit and deception, we've actually covered those. Glamour or glamorized. If it's, glamour is an emotional hook. If you're getting glamorized, then maybe you're being deceived. Overshadowed. Let's look it up. To tower above or cast a shadow over. Pretty deceptive. Shaded. Huh. Entrainment. We're going to have to check that one out. The process where two interacting, oscillating systems to synchronize, to assume the same period of rhythm. Let's say that again. The process where two interacting, oscillating systems synchronize to assume the same period of rhythm. So you got something coming together that's synchronizing and assume the same period of rhythm. So if you're synchronizing with something else, maybe you're not living into your full potential or what you're supposed to be doing or your appropriate reality. Maybe you've synced with something else. That's a technique of deception. What did we just go over? Oh, entrainment. Hold on. Okay. Other locations of residences. What we're talking about there could actually be in your body mind field complex. Like even your organs can be in other places or residences, not in your own body mind field complex, and you can be getting messed with. That's why, you feel like shit, you don't know what's wrong, and hey, you go to the doctors and they give you medication. Well, maybe that gives you some relief for a little while, but then you end up with something else going on because it caused another hole in your arc field, and something else got in there, and it's made its way into your liver or something, and then your liver's outside your body, and they're fucking with it all the time. Yeah, it's technique of deception. Stealth. Pretty stealthy. Inducted. Now, inducted, just about anything can be inducted in the field. And that means any kind of bacteria, virus, thought forms, commands, hypnotic suggestions into the subconscious. So, if you're hearing it ringing all the time, chances are that's an induction of some sort. Or you can feel a frequency always coming into the field. That's an induction. It can be broadcast, and it's a way of deception so that you can't find out who's doing it. Yeah, they're chicken shit. But hey, don't worry about it. You can clear anything once you figure out what it is. Environments. Okay. Atmospheres. Now we're getting heavy. Concealments. If something's been concealed, you're being deceived. Why does the government conceal all this stuff? Are they trying to deceive us? anybody who's concealing something is deceiving something. They're out to deceive. Covered or covered up. That's when, you just brush it under the rug, and then that's when, like, what do you call it? It's happened so many times. They just gaslight it. They turn it around to make it your fault. That's covering up or covered up. Covered or covered up. That's a form of gaslighting. We can discover it, though. I have a technique to discover that. So if it's being covered or covered up, we can discover what's being covered or covered up. Mental universes. So that's pretty heavy. You mean there's other universes besides one? Yeah. It's a multiverse, and there could be other universes, other mental universes. So if you're not living in your own proper and appropriate mental universe, then you're living in something else's inappropriate mental universe, which is probably just, putting a stick in the spokes. Shadows. Conjured. Now we're talking about magic. How about this one? How about this? we're near the end of the paragraph. This is just one paragraph in thousands of pages. So, buckle up. Relationship entities to interference and their locations of occupation. Okay. If it comes up, I just clear it. Sometimes I don't want to know. Well, how about this one? Hell worlds, Illuna worlds, or mirror worlds and localized forms. Oh, whoa, man, just stop. I think we're going to end it there because that's a lot of deception. And so if this stuff is happening to you, now you know. But what do you do about it? You got to command your space, man. And if you don't know how to do that, you can always give me a holler. I'm always available, but not always available. Sometimes I'm totally unavailable, and you won't be able to find me anywhere. But if I am available, take advantage of it. Because we can clear all this stuff. I can find out what's going on in the field. And this is just one paragraph. I've got thousands of pages. So anyway, stay tuned for some more stuff. I hope you found this valuable. And if you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment and tell me what you think about all this nonsense. And share it. Share it with some of your friends. Especially if you know they're being deceived. Later, alligators. Thanks for watching.